Father, you are the living Eliyahu, and there's no one like unto thee, O Lord. Be with me and be with us as I teach this today. I am here to show you something. It's not Lamentations, but I will teach you about Lamentations. There's a great secret in Lamentations. I remember when the Lord was taking me through, and I got to Lamentations, and I started lamenting every day and night. I would do one chapter a day, morning and night. And I did this for many weeks. And then the Most High gave me a secret, a mystery. So it's open to Lamentations, just to let you know. But what I am here to teach is the name. You know, it is written in the scriptures that there's nothing like a good name. A good name is very important. A good name, especially a name that has the Lord's name in it somewhere. But let me teach you the name of Yahshua. Now, there are many who fight this name. They want the name with the J and the S's in it. Let me teach you about the name Yahshua. Yahshua, Yahuwah, is the name, the Yod-Heh Rav-Heh. People say, oh no, it's a Yahuwah. Well, Josephus gave us a hint to the name. He said the name is all vowels. And I know theologians have said for many years, it's just impossible. It can't be vowels because it's just not, that's not how Hebrew is written. But something that they missed was it's hyphenated. Yod-Heh, then there's a hyphen, Vav-Heh. And it's hyphenated for a reason. It is hyphenated so a shin can be put in the middle of it. There was a prophecy that said that the name of the Moshiach, the first part of his name would be the first part of the Most High's name, and the last part of his name would be the last part of the Most High's name. So when you hyphenate it, then you can have vowels. Yah hyphen Wah. Yahshua. Yahshua. I know many people that have come on my channel, they'll say, well, you know, this is another bizarre name that's neither biblical or historical. Well, there it is, the historical. Josephus said that it was all vowels. Biblical, the Yod-Heh Rav-Heh. Yahshua, prophecy said that his name would be the name of the oldest son of Jesse. And this is the English, King James. The name of the oldest son of Jesse was actually, according to English translation, was Joshua, but was actually Yahshua. So when you say Yahshua, Yahshua. But he poured something into me. There's so many people that fight the name. We don't realize that, or at least I do now. Are you okay, baby? Are you okay? I didn't when I was, in my younger days. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. And I didn't understand the spirit realm, only what they taught. They didn't teach us about the curses and the balance of the spirit realm, but the name they did not teach us either, because they didn't know the name. They only knew the name that was written in what they had. So, many people say, well, you know what, my grandparents, they didn't say the name. They said that name. But, I can't sit here and believe for 1 second that, because they didn't know the name, or that they are going to hell. They were good people. And look, I'm with you. I'm there. And I had to go to the Most High with it. Because I said, well, Lord, a lot of my family have been in that kingdom all of their lives, and that's what they knew. They didn't know that name, and he revealed something to me. He reminded me, Joshua said, the tares must grow with the wheat until harvest time. And so they have. And now we are in the time of harvest. And he has raised up some of us to remove the tares out of the wheat. The name is the thread of the veil that will be lifted in the days ahead. You must know the name before the veil can be removed. Before you can see behind the veil. Before you can see the great deception of the veil. The veil is there hiding the truth. And once you know the name, don't worry about your fathers and your fathers' fathers. That is why we are here in this time. I want you to think about this for a second. If you have children that you teach a certain way, and teach them certain things, and you teach them to seek the truth and know the truth. And if your children seek the truth and find the truth, then you are a reflection of your fathers and your fathers' fathers and your mothers and your mothers' mothers. Because they were who they were, and they taught you to seek the truth of all things, and you seek the truth of all things, then they have done their job, and they have done the will of the Most High. But if you refuse to see the truth and know the truth, then you are a reflection of your fathers and your mothers and you are a reflection that they did not want to know or see the truth. But for most of you, like me, I know that's not the case. Because even though my mothers and mothers' mothers and fathers' fathers did not know the truth at that time, they always taught me to seek the truth. To seek the truth of the Most High. And because they did that, they opened my heart to receive the truth when I find it. Or rather, when it comes and is presented before me. So, if I have found that there is something wrong here, my mothers and fathers and mothers' mothers and fathers' fathers have all crossed over, not knowing the truth. But because I seek the truth and found the truth, I have already made the fact that they didn't know it exonerated, basically, because they taught me to seek and know the truth. They did a great and holy thing before the throne of the living. So don't sit there and say, oh, well, people are saying if you don't say the name, da-da-da. It is true, it's a very frustrating place to be. Because none of us want to think for 1 second that our parents and grandparents that were good people in their hearts are going to hell because they didn't have the name. But we are in the time where it is the time of harvest. And we are in the time where we are the ones that are seeking the truth, bringing the truth forward. We are the ones that are here to bring the truth forward so that the harvest can be a good harvest. We are here to restore all things. And if you are a part of restoring all things, you have exonerated your parents and your grandparents and those that didn't know. But it is our place to know the truth in this time. It is our place to turn towards our fathers and to turn towards our children and teach our children the truth that our fathers did not know. And by us teaching our children the truth of what our fathers did not know, we have exonerated our fathers, because the one thing they taught us was to seek the truth of the Most High. And that was holy before Him and before His throne. So do not be discouraged or think, well, God, if I learn the truth and know this truth, then I've got to accept the fact that my parents... That's not true. That's not true. But if you are told the truth and don't receive the truth in these days, the days of harvest, then yes, you have failed the Most High. You have failed your parents. So that, I wanted to say that. He poured that into me to say that. For those of you that have trouble. But the name, the I-E-S-U-S, I don't even speak it. And I'm going to tell you why. In Latin, that is I-E, sus. which means, in other words, the swine. When later on the J-E come into it, J-E in some languages means I am. So when you say I am in the Sus, you're saying I am the swine. Now remember, Yahshua cast legion into the swine. Excuse me. Remember what he said to the church. You do not know the depths of the Satan's wickedness as you speak. That's why he said, say yea, yea, nay, nay, all else is evil, because you don't realize what you are saying. Latin is the language of the Satan, the language of all demonic entities. It is their language. It is their tongue. And when you speak in their tongue and honor their tongue and say that you are the swine, you are confessing. Every time you speak that name, you are saying, holy is I am the swine. He cast legion into the swine. This is important. This is important for prophecy. Knowing this. Remember the kingdom full of devils? Or it has become a kingdom full of devils. When the swine ran off the cliff, it did not kill Legion. Legion was set free. Legion asked him to cast him into the swine because Legion knew the name that would come in the future. They already knew the name. So when you say that name, you are confessing that you are the swine. Therefore, he cast them into the swine. It's very important to understand this. So many people fight the name, but he said, blessed are he that dies for my name's sake from henceforth. That was a hint. He was telling you something. He was telling you something was going to happen with his name. Did you know that's what basically the Inquisition and the Spanish Inquisition was all about? Jews had received Yahshua, and they received his Hebrew name. They did not receive Paul, only Yahshua. And they kept their customs, the traditions. And the Catholic Church, because of that, came against them and murdered many. They didn't stop with those Jews that received him. They wanted to make sure, because they understood something. They understood that prophecy said that when the Jews receive him, and receive that name, and receive him, and sacrifice the soul of the Moshiach to the Most High, that's when he will turn his face, and they will be his people again, and he will be their God again. So the best way to keep the Jews from receiving him is to, first of all, change his name, to change doctrines, to pour tears into what he taught and who he was. And some of you with eyes that are open, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but many of you whose eyes are not yet open do not, but in the future I will bring you there. But one of the things that he revealed to me and poured into me was this. Hear what I'm saying. Look for God's glory in all things. All things. His name is more important than any name on this earth. And everyone that fights his name don't realize what you're doing. And let me take it here. Consider the transgendered person. Here they changed their names. And some even changed their sexes. And you come against it and you fight it and you're very ugly about it and you're like, well, they're still a man no matter what. Here you have this zest and this zeal for that. But the one name that is more important than any, you don't care. You do not have the same zeal and the same zest. You don't say, oh my God, this is his name, we've got to call him his name. Instead, you fight it. You fight giving him back his name. His Hebrew name. But them, you fight it tooth and nail. They are not as important as he is. But yet you make the biggest stink over a transgender person and their name. And them changing their sex. But the Most High, you could care less. You can't see how wicked that is. If you're going to make that big of a deal and that big of a stink about a transgender person, you better make twice as big of a deal about him and his name. The prophecies that said his visage was marred more than that of the sons of man was talking about basically his whole identity. More than that of the sons of man. You better start fighting for his name and fighting for him the same way you fight a transgendered person. They are in the flesh. They are changing the flesh. They did it themselves. Someone else changed his name, but no one cares. His name is very important. Very important. Knowing his name is the oil. Knowing his name will unravel the fabric of the veil. It will unravel the fabric of the deception. Many of the names of the prophets, especially those with the name of the Most High in their name, their names were changed. You don't realize the names were changed for a reason. There's one kingdom on this earth that changed the names of the Jews, of the children of Israel, and that was Babylon. No, pay attention. Pay attention. Babylon is infamous for changing the names, because they believed when you changed the name, you took away their power. You took away their identity. You took away their existence. Thank the Most High that Daniel was righteous and his name was not changed. Daniel was the only reason that the names, he took away the power of Babylon to take the power of the names away. And now it is up to us to break those chains of the names. Lord, I pray, oh Lord, I pray they hear this. Be glorified forever, Father.